I've been thinking about it a lot. Hello, everybody. That was the first thing I said, right? I've been thinking about it a lot. Hi, Future Bestsellers. We've been thinking about you a lot. Welcome to the Sprints today. With me, as always, are my lovely and talented co-hosts, Robert Jones, aka the Story Detective, and Michelle Schusterman, aka Michelle Schusterman. And hi, I'm Lisa Daly. So yeah, welcome. We're very glad to have you guys here today. Let's quickly do our little intros before we get rolling, other than my sad one that I just did. And I'm going to start with you today, Robert. Robert and I called each other this morning. I guess you didn't get that call, Michelle, that today was Wear Orange Day.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I must have forgotten to send the call today. I must have forgotten to send the email. So yeah, that's nice that we match. So see if we can find a scarf on the 5-minute sprint, right? Let's just think about it. All right, Robert, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
Well, my channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling and put them under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft for the viewer and hopefully make their journey easier. And lots of videos on my channel, new ones in the works, at least in the planning stages. So hopefully we're moving along once Georgie gets back and things get a little more stable here.
That's good. We love Georgie. I bet she's very glad to see you. She'll be very glad to see you. She's been back for a while. Well, thank you for being here, Robert. Michelle Schusterman, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
Right. I am a young adult and middle grade author, and I guess I should add this to my intro now. I'm also working on serial fiction for the first time, and follow me over to Substack if you want to.
Scary.
Yeah. And my channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs. Thanks,
Very
Lisa.
nice. Thanks for being here as always. I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a hybrid author, so part traditionally published, part indie published. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you're super proud of and get it published. And of course, we do writing sprints every Wednesday. Let's say hi to some of our friends in the chat. Lainey's here. Hello, Lainey. I'm very excited because Lainey texted me last night and said, hey, I'm going to, she's going to be between conferences. And one of them I'm going to that happens to be near my my house. And Lainey's like, can I come stay? And I'm very excited. I have not looked at my calendar, which is why I have not emailed you back. But fingers crossed, because I think it'd be super fun. Anyway, Lainey's here, going to write the heck out of a chapter today. So we'll have to make sure we get some really good sprints in early. Miss Texas G is here. I'm super glad to see you. Mary's here, working on Tricked, putting some final touches on memoir coming out later this month. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a fascinating story about a young woman who was sex trafficked and became a prostitute, and then eventually she's got a fascinating life story though, and then eventually got herself out of that situation and now helps children, and she's like just a lovely human being. So I'm super excited for that to come out. Devin's here. Very nice. So glad to see you. Ray is here. Like to be handwriting instead of typing during these sprints. I'm also thinking of working on different character profiles. Nice. All right. Let us know what you guys are working on in the chat. Thank you, Ray, for kicking us off this morning. Hello, Susan. Super glad to see you today. Good morning, Dreaming Truth, aka Felicia. We are so glad to see you today. Thanks so much for joining us. Hi, Maz. Good afternoon to you. 88 Green is here. Good afternoon, good morning, and good night to you, depending on where you are in the world. Hello, Fadita. Very nice to see you today. Hi, friends. Lovely Luby Lisa, Sherlock, and magnificent Michelle. I love I get loopy, Lisa. That feels right. Thank you, Avi. That feels like a thing.
Stuck.
Okay, this is hilarious. Serial fiction throwing us for a Fruit Loop.
Yeah.
I love a good pun early in the morning. Hello, cool gamer. We are super glad to see you today. Daisy's here. Good morning. Yay. Yay. Very nice. And Dreaming Truth author Felicia says the like button is your friend. Oh, thank you so much, Felicia. We really appreciate that. We've lost Michelle. There she is.
I'm here.
So let's go ahead and get started with our first 5-minute warnings. Warning. I'm giving you a 5-minute warning sprint. That's it. No more bad behavior from you two. All right, 5-minute warm up sprint, and then we'll come back and do our regular 20s. Today, we are going to be talking about writing and marketing systems because I have found in the last several months that I need a new one. And so I'm trying to and I'm a big believer, like, if you're going to sort of rejigger your business, like, do it all at once. If you're going to, I know some people make small changes. I tend to just clear the desk and start fresh. Yeah, well, that's it. Like, why take 6 months to ramp up when you can take 2 weeks? Anyway, we'll see. I'll let you guys know if it works. All right, so let's go ahead and do that very first 5-minute warm-up sprint. In the chat, please let us know what you guys are going to be working on today, but we will come back and talk about it right after the sprint is done. All right, everybody, here we go. We got 5 minutes on this first one. Get your caffeine and your document open and your brain right, whatever else you need to do, fingers stretched, all that stuff. And we will see you back here in 5 minutes. Here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right, everybody, we are back. So how did you guys do on that last sprint?
Great.
Fantastic. So what's everybody working on today? Robert, what are you going to be doing today?
I'm working on my craft book, and I wrote some stuff the other day, and I can't seem to find it. But then again, I went back and I took my chapter from Scrivener and pasted it in, and I guess I'll just go through it and take it from there.
That's the
That makes my palms itchy just hearing it.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. That's like the worst thing that can happen.
Ugh.
Well, it's not the worst. The worst thing is like the world burns. The second worst thing happening is that you write a new part of your book and then you cannot find the file. Yeah. Miss Texas G says ears perk up craft book. So I love this. Can you describe a little, like you have such a great concept for your craft book. Can you tell us a little bit about it? First of all, is it up on pre-order yet?
No, it's basically 10 topics. I'm on topic 4, and I'm already over 40,000 words into the thing.
No, it's going to be one of those big ones
So it's
you
going
have
to be
on your
one of
shelf.
those. Yeah.
Right. That's good.
But I basically wrote a novel using all these principles so that I can use the novel as a direct example of what I'm talking about, so that people can actually see it rather than just read about it. So I have like a craft section explaining it, and then a section where I break down what I did in the actual novel and give it a practical application.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Michelle, what are you going to be working on today?
Ghostwriting. Got a project due at the end of August, so that's going to be
So that's
my
it.
focus.
Yeah. I am trying to get my schedule in order, so that's going to take me about 10 minutes of the next. Like I have it all done. I just need to get it in my calendar. So that's going to be about the first 10 minutes of the next sprint. But I too am working on a ghostwriting project that is due this weekend. So I got to knock that out. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it. But yeah, anyway, so ghost project for me as well. Ray is like, woohoo, craft book. I'm excited for it. Y'all are. Like, how excited are we for this? I think we all know. All right. So
making.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's challenging, but you're so knowledgeable on craft. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. Hello, Bonnie. We're super glad to see you today. So me too, working on a ghostwriting project, which is romance. So let's chat, you guys, about kind of like, well, this is what I want to talk about. I think I want to say that I had said, I feel like my writing life is falling apart. Like I'm having a really hard time meeting deadlines. I feel like I'm always behind on everything. And that is not who I am as a person. I am a person who typically has 9,000 things in the fire and gets them all done. And I don't know if I'm just too freaking tired anymore, or if there's something broken about my brain after COVID. I don't know what's happening, but I clearly, like, what I used to do does not work for me anymore, and I need a new system. And I think it was Lainey who suggested Elena Kagan's book, which I'm going to share because I already just shared with you guys.
Yes,
hold on.
let's see that again.
Let's see it. I did this, and then can I find it? No. Hold on. Let me, sometimes like Amazon does the, or not Amazon, but sometimes StreamYard does this thing. Like if you haven't like clicked on the link in a while, then it just like puts it down to the bottom. Okay. So this is the book that I am working with right now. And I wanted to talk about it with you guys today because there's some really basic ideas in here where you're just like banging yourself on the head, like, duh. The first one is, if you're having problem with your writing, you should track your writing to see what you're doing.
Right.
And I thought that was like the most obvious thing in the world, because I had literally done, that's how I got like to my previous writing speed. I'm a big believer in tracking your writing. Have I been tracking your writing? No. Or tracking I haven't been tracking your writing either. Have I been tracking have I been tracking right. Have I been tracking my writing? No, I have not. I have not. And so thank God for Elena saying, hey, let's do this thing. Because I started tracking it. And what I realize is I'm way more distractible than I used to be. It used to be if I put writing from 2 to 5 on the calendar that I would do it without fail. My house could burn down around me and I would still get my word count in. And that is not the case. I'm like pulled in a million different directions. And so I need to figure out some way to make that the case again. But I think well, this is so funny that you say this, Lainey, because I'm pretty sure when I said, "Hey guys, I'm having really like a hard time keeping everything going right now." I'm pretty sure that you, Lainey, was the person who said, "Oh, you should read Elena's books." We have Lainey and I both have um, met Elena. I met her a bunch of times. Actually, I'm sure Lainey has also met her a bunch of times. She's crazy smart and she's also really productive. And that's the kind of person that you want telling you how to do your stuff. What I really love about her, she's saying, my system is probably not going to work for you. You need to figure out your own shit. And that is
Yes.
really, really, really helpful and useful. So I highly recommend the book. It's fantastic. And it's like $5 on Kindle. So that's good. I don't know if it's here. I'll just look real quick. It might be in KU. No, it's not in K. Oh, hold on. Maybe it is. No, it's not in KU. However, it's fully worth the 5.99. And even if you don't buy the book, which a lot of people are like, oh no, thank you, I don't need another book. But even if you don't, the idea of tracking your writing for 60 days and just seeing what's happening, like what you plan to do versus what you actually really do, and what are the things that make you say squirrel and get distract you and prevent you from writing, that you just keep track of everything everywhere.
60
And
days.
yeah, 60 days. And one of the things that's important, in fact, I created a little word tracker on Google Docs. So if you guys want, after the next sprint, I'll just drop it in the I'll drop the link in the thing and you can copy it if you want it. But one of the things that's really important is to note what time of day it is when you're writing, where you are, whether or not you're listening to any type of music or sounds, or if you're doing a writing sprint, or if you had a crappy day yesterday and didn't sleep well, to write all that stuff down, because that's how you find the patterns. And the crazy thing is I did this as an experiment like 15 years ago, because I was working on increasing my word count. And so I tracked a lot of different details about my word count. And what I realized was that previously I had been rewarding myself with a writing day at the beach if I made my word count in my office every day. And what I realized from tracking was that I was way more productive at the beach. Like I literally write twice as fast at the beach. So I can write in the place that I love to write the most and also spend way less time writing and getting my word count because I'm so much more efficient there. And that was like, oh, I mean, it doubled my word count almost instantly. I enjoyed writing so much more because I was writing at Siesta Key every day. And it was life changing for me. Just that. And all I did was track for 30 days to find those types of things. So Elena says 60. I'm going to follow Elena's plan because what I've been doing lately has not been working. But if you guys are interested, I just created like yesterday a little writing tracker. So if you guys want it, then I'll
Ooh.
Yeah,
drop the
I'll
link.
make use of it. I'll probably continue that next month. Lisa and I were talking before the stream that I've been doing a 30-day thing where I've been tracking everything just to get
Mhm.
things more organized. And I realized, and this might work well for some people as well, if you're pulling a lot of different things in life together or different
Mm,
projects, tracking it all, kind of helps. I'll have these like
yeah.
little revelations across the time period, but then it takes me a few days to implement those because it's like, oh, here's a good
Right.
idea. And then I try it. And then a few days later, it's that aha moment. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
so I'm going to implement it. So it's
Right.
not like an instantaneous thing. So this will be my pre tracking and then I'll learn from this and apply to the writing next month.
I can't, like, even just today I realized, oh well, here, and I'm writing down distractions, like, okay, I sat down to write and here are the three things that happened that stopped me in my tracks. And I think that the more information we know about this and about ourselves and what works for us. Like, one of the things I think that's kind of cool that Elena talks about in the book is how, after tracking her writing for 60 days, she noticed that every Thursday she was writing things like stared at the computer for 30 minutes and didn't do anything, or played Kindle games all day, or talked to the work wife on the phone, or whatever it was, just that she was not writing, she was not writing well, and she was looking for distractions on Thursdays, and that she almost never made her word count. And so what she decided was, I'm tired by clearly I'm tired by Thursday, because my productivity goes down every Thursday. And so she either doesn't work, like she takes some Thursdays off now, and on other Thursdays she does half her regular word count, so that she doesn't feel like she's slacker every Thursday.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so incredibly smart. You're just figuring out how your brain is working and maximizing that, and giving yourself a break or doing other things when you're not going to be as productive writing. It's just
I feel like,
way.
have you guys also read, this was years ago that I read it, but I think Chris Fox, I know he has a YouTube channel, and he has that, like, how to write faster. I don't remember what it's called, but he has, like, a bunch of books about it. And he definitely, like, tracking your word counts is, like, a big part of the advice that he gave as well. And I did do that for a while, and it was super helpful, but it was also at the same time as I was trying to do the Milwordy thing and write 1,000,000 words in a year.
Right.
And by the end of that, I was burned out. So I never wanted to look at an Excel spreadsheet ever in because I was working on so many different projects that like tracking everything just like, oh my God. But I do think that just returning to a simple version of it is probably something I should do.
Yeah, well, it's just so helpful. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I have gone back to tracking which again, it's kind of funny when you're far removed from something where you go, like, oh yeah, I did that and it was really successful for me, but I'm not going to do it again. Like, the fact that it hadn't occurred to me, because I have gone back to tracking my work to solve issues or figure out problems or figure out roadblocks multiple times in my career. And I don't, like, some people track their writing for all eternity. Elena talks about she still tracks her, like, she's been tracking her writing since she started, and that helps her to kind of figure things out. And I typically, like, I'm not a fan of it. I am a fan of Excel spreadsheets when they're useful, but I'm also not a fan of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so what happens is I do it for the prescribed amount, 30 days or 60 days, figure out what the problem is, rework my writing or my writing time or my schedule or whatever else. And then I don't do it for a while again until I have another problem to solve. So it'd probably be smart to do that on an ongoing basis. I don't know that I will do that, but I'm definitely going to do it for the next 60 days. All right, let's have some comments. Hello, Rebecca. We're super glad to see you today. Kobo Plus. I don't remember what this was referring to. But yes, whatever. We love Kobo. I noticed that it's part of a series. I'm going to get all three. They're all three good books, or four. I'm not sure how many there are, but there's several. She's smart. She does this really well, and she's an early adopter. She jumped on like a lot of things, like I can't remember the name of it. Ream, which is sort of the author version of Patreon. She was one of the early people who adopted that. She I think was one of the earlier adopters of direct sales. Like, she's smart. She's smart. She can teach us what to do. We should listen. Mary, me too, super distractible. Raising parents and grandkids can mess with brains. Yes, that is absolutely the truth. Sometimes you just have too much going on in your brain. I will drop it in the next, during the next sprint. I've been tracking for the last month. I find I only write about 4 days a week on average and only manage 500 words a day when I write, trying not to feel bad about it. That's your speed. That's cool. That's great. You can write books and have a career on 500 words a day.
You absolutely can. 100%.
Right? True. That's 2,000 words. That's 2,000 words a week. So if you're talking about like, you're good. Struggle with writing goals in my house from Buck's just 6-year-old nephew. 5-week-old niece, set up my Scrivener. So whenever my nephew sees the white wooden cottage background, he says Auntie's writing. Oh, I love that. I love that. You got to teach them the finger. So when my kids were really little, it sounds dirty. It's not.
Yes,
When
it
my
does.
kids were when my kids were little, and and I'm like one of those people that, like, some people can get right back into writing. If somebody interrupts you, you go, "Hey, I'll be with you in a second," and they don't miss a beat. I am not that person. You interrupt me while I'm writing, it takes me 25 minutes to get back on track to where I was before. And so what would happen is when my kids would come in the room, they were both Montessori kids, and so they were already used to the thing like where you put your hand on the teacher's shoulder to get their attention without interrupting them. But when they would come into the room, I would hold up my finger, and that meant that they knew I had seen them and that I would be with them as soon as I could take a break. And I think I told you guys this before. So my daughter had decided, I think in second grade, that she was going to write like the second grader's guide to surviving school or something, which was really cute. It was adorable. It was adorable. But when I go into her room one day and I'm like, okay, it's time to leave for camp or play date or whatever we're going. And what does she do? She gives me the finger. She like holds it up for a second, and I'm like, I'll just wait quietly by the door until you're ready to speak with me. It was the cutest thing ever. But it really did work because otherwise it'd be impossible. And it taught them, to respect what I was doing, but also, that I cared about them, and I'd be with them in just a minute. All right. Yes. Yes. Distracted rabbit hole if I acknowledge my distractions, or when I just, yeah, absolutely. How about when you want to write, but your personal life is mentally all too consuming? This is where I am now. I feel like words couldn't come out, even though I know the scene I want to be writing. So I can completely relate to this. Absolutely. And let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and do our next sprint, and then because we've got to get at least 120 in pretty quickly.
Yeah,
But
that's
let's
how I
talk.
started the 30 days, so I can tell you how I've progressed with it. Don't know if it'll help you, but I got some ideas.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to come back and talk about this. Lainey is explaining Kobo Plus. Sorry, I completely missed that. See what happens? Brain too full. Lainey's marketing books are part of Kobo Plus. So if you subscribe to Kobo Plus, you can binge the whole series. There you go. Ray is also working on the same thing as Fadina. So we are definitely going to be talking about that when we come back. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get our first 20-minute sprint on the books. We can do this, you guys. We're going to write and make it count. All right, here we go. Let's get ready to write in 3. System or not, we're going today. 2, 1. Hit it. All right. Very nice. How did everybody do on that last sprint?
Very good.
Good.
Almost 600 words.
Good for you. All
Yeah.
right. Fantastic. I know this is the one thing about editing and sprints is that you don't you don't get that word count. You're like, oh, well, I got through a big chunk, but it's not quite the same thing. So how about you, Robert? How'd you do on the last sprint?
I found my missing file, so that's a good thing. And then I started fusing
Yay!
it together with what I was
Yay!
writing there.
Yay! A miracle has occurred today on the live stream, you guys. I'm very excited about this. That's
Well, I
phenomenal.
had it in my iCloud, and I've had so many power outages like every other day still with Spectrum and whatever's going on with the internet. It just wasn't syncing up.
Mm.
So,
Yay. I'm very glad you found it.
yeah, me
Yes.
too.
Phew. That was a close one. That was a very close one. So let's talk about we're gonna just we're gonna just pop up a few little comments that are related to what we're talking about, which is this idea of tracking and also how do you write when your personal life is a dumpster fire rolling down the street or some other mental equivalent. Could just be a very full and exciting life that does not leave any room at all for writing. And I, you know what I did, you guys? I said, oh, I'll drop that word tracker link in the chat during the sprint. What did I do? I sprinted. I did not drop that in. I'll drop it in the next one. Sorry about that. So I love this advice from Ray, listening to an audiobook of poetry or music in a similar theme to my to my novel. I don't know where I got model from novel. Or try to have a comforting drink like coffee. So one thing that I have done with my fiction for a long time is that I will often listen to the same song on repeat over and over and over again while I'm writing, something that's very much in the mood of the scene. And the reason I listen to the same song on repeat is because if I listen to different songs, I'd be singing along in my head and but if I listen to the same song on repeat, it just fades into the background. And I stopped doing that when I started listening to ocean sounds, which made me more productive. But I think I may be going back to the same song on repeat. And the reason for that is that the next day when you start writing, you hit that song and all of a sudden your brain's just right back in the scene. And it's really shockingly powerful how fast that hearing the and we all know this, right? We all hear some song that reminds us of some great night we had in college or or some special moment or some sad moment in our lives. So this just is a way to sort of make it help with our productivity issues or our writing issues. But I think that sort of being comforting yourself is something that's really important. I think a lot of us are really struggling with a big mental load. So maybe you got some crazy stuff happening with your family, like you've got a relative in the hospital or somebody going into you know, um, care, or you've got little kids, or you've got a terrible boss, like a day job and a terrible boss, or you're just stressed about the politics of whether, and I don't want to get into either side, but you're just stressed about politics and everything that is happening in the world right now. And I know it feels scary for a lot of people. And so there's a lot going on that we have.
Yeah,
Lainey
the
said,
world is a dumpster fire, and I was thinking about that the other day. And again, not to get specific either, but I realize that as writers, we're kind of working our magic with our creative stuff, and it gets distracting with everything else that's going on. And you have to really be conscious that most news, I think it's something like 97% of what's fed to us is negativity, and we
mm-hmm.
don't do well with that. So you have to realize, do those people have your best interest in heart? You have to kind of step aside from that and kind of do your own thing and realize that they have their own agenda and you need to keep yours in spite of, which,
Yeah.
you know.
It's very hard. I do frequently take news sabbaticals where I'm like, I don't want to know what's happening in the news.
Mm-hmm.
And which is really contrary to sort of who I've been as a human for my entire life. Like I grew up believing that you should be well informed about what's happening in the world and that
Yep.
you should be able to converse on it intelligently. And I grew up discussing current events over dinner, and that's how I raised my kids. But there's so much awfulness and negativity right now that I just can't process it all. And I don't want to. I don't want that my life to be about all these horrible things. And
It's a
so
business. And you think
yeah,
about
it
media,
is a
the more they
business, right?
the more they can do it, the more money they make. So they realize that yes, we want to be informed, but now it's over the top with information hitting us on so many levels. And
Right.
that's good for them, not for us. When you
Right. My
realize
mental
some kind
distress
of
earns them money
yes,
but does
exactly.
not do anything good. In fact,
Mhm.
hinders me from earning money. So So I'm going to not play anymore. The elections in
Mhm.
November, thankfully, we have a unique situation where we have had both candidates as president. We have already seen them in their jobs. And so we have a pretty good idea what we're in for. So I feel like this is a less challenging year than it has been in the past for choosing who you're going to vote for. And so I really don't need to know any I don't need to know every single thing that these terrible people say about each other and the terrible things that are happening. And again, I will check in and obviously if there's a hurricane coming, someone will tell me, but my poor little brain needs a break from all of the drama. And that is one of the things when the first time I ever really struggled with writing was after I had experienced a really traumatic event and I went to a trauma therapist. And what I explained to him was part of the problem was I would sit down to write and my brain would wander to all these terrible things that might happen. And
Mhm.
I imagine that is also a source of distraction now, all the terrible things that might happen. And I
As
don't
writers,
write
we have
horror,
good imaginations, so
right?
yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that.
I don't
Yeah.
write horror and I don't write mystery, so that does me no good. And I just feel like just for my own mental health, like I need a break. And one of the things that he said two things. One is that you can take a break from things like that, from the news or from negative people or whatever. So there's that. And then the other thing he said that I found just infinitely helpful that I always try to remind myself is that you do not need to, in your conscious mind, be constantly thinking about all the terrible things that can happen while you're supposed to be writing. And the reason for that is that you have a part of your brain called your amygdala whose whole job is to do that. And so
Mhm.
your amygdala is just doing its thing. It's ready for if the bear breaks into your writing studio, you're ready, right? You don't have to sit around and think about it. And that, well, he did that and he sort of combined it with like, what do you do when you're out surfing and the big wave comes? And I'm like, well, you face the shore, you paddle, 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 and then you stand up. He's like, same thing with the bear coming into your writing studio. You will know what to do when the big moment comes. And so that has been helpful, but I still feel it. I'm an empathetic person, aka an empath, and I feel things deeply, which is part of the reason I'm a writer. And I just can't do it anymore. And that's okay to say, you know what? I'm not letting this horrible stuff into my life, whether it's a week or 2 weeks or months or 17 years, just like try and shut some of it out. It's harder when those people when the bear lives with you, right? And sleeps next to you or lives in a crib in your house or whatever. But outside bears we can control by not letting them in the house.
If you think
But
about it, as writers, we are good at capturing people's attention to pull them into our universe, and we keep them there with all these little bursts of conflict and how things are going to play out. But the news media, that's their job, so they're very good at hooking people, and we get involved in the soap opera, and then it's hard to break away. I think that's it in a nutshell.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think so too. Miss Texas G says, "I agree. What I do to remove bad news is I watch Hallmark romances." Oh, I love that. Or Korean romantic
Hmm.
comedies. Love that. Love that. Love that. That is absolutely fantastic. Ray, happy writing to you. Thanks so much for your awesome contributions. Well, this is interesting from winter. I have to listen to the same music over and over again when I write too, because even random background classical music distracts me as a musician. Right?
Yeah,
I imagine that'd be like reading while writing for a musician, like that your brain is so occupied. Yeah, I
fall
can
into
totally.
that as well. If I get a like not so much a song, but a CD that's really working, I'll just play it every day while I'm writing, and it helps me get into that groove.
Yeah,
But for me, it's not so much the social life being an upheaval or a dumpster fire, but I don't do well with interruptions. If I
right.
plan to write today and then all of a sudden I have to go do something else, then my writing is blown for that day because I can't shift back and forth. So that's the way I started my 30-day challenge was here's a day for writing, here's a day for this project, here's a day to take care of business stuff, a day to run my errands. And then I slowly but surely started meshing them together and doing a couple of things a day and kind of retraining my brain. And
I think that's really but what that says is that you took the thing that was stopping you from writing, you
mhm,
analyzed what you could do to change it, and then you worked with how your brain actually works. And I think that's the key for any successful writing or marketing or any system, any life system.
Uh,
Welcome back, Michelle.
Hi.
Uh, I think that's the key is that you can't just implement somebody. I mean, maybe you can implement somebody else's thing, but more likely you're going to try. It won't work with how your brain works, and so you
uh,
can't. And so the best way to move forward out of writing challenges or life challenges or any kind of challenges is to figure out like what works for you, what works for your brain, how can you solve this problem
and
with it.
here's the danger too with some of that. I think we all suffer a little bit from this, but we go from one extreme to another. So once I started doing it, I started slotting out an hour for this and a couple hours for that and putting a whole bunch in one day. And then I got a little bit done on everything, but not a lot done on one thing.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so I just went from, having to segregate separate days to cramming everything together. And then it's like kind of a madness. So then it's like, duh, if I have my core project, that's the main thing that I work on, and then one other thing a day, then I can really just make this work more effectively.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah.
we all have to learn and focus because that pendulum swings. And the extremes are usually the two ends of where we end up. And we find that balance and we strive for it in the middle.
That's true. Well, and I think part of the challenge, at least part of the challenge for me, is that all the stuff that's always worked for my entire writing career is not working and hasn't worked for a while. And how do you like I just have to accept the fact that my life is not the same as my old life. And so I need to figure out what works with my existing, like what works best with my existing life
Yes.
and involves a lot more writing. So I think this is like when Lainey says when my life was a dumpster fire, I had to find other ways to earn money, right? Because sometimes you're just like, I just freaking can't. I
Mhm.
had a similar experience in the during COVID because I just couldn't. I would write and I never liked anything I was writing and it was just not going anywhere. And we still all have to eat and pay the mortgage and all that.
Mhm.
Although I will say once I worked it out and had enough time to write again, that I did at least like it again. So there was that. Oh, we have more comments. Oh no, we don't. We have the same amount of comments. All right. Sorry about that. I know what StreamYard's so squirrely. I'm like, oh, I missed them all. Nope, they're all the same. It just jumped like there were a bunch of new ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our next writing sprint. Dun dun dun. I feel like this is a good. So when we come back, we are going to talk about some of the things that are in fact working for any of us, especially about how to deal with kind of mental fatigue and life overload. If anybody has any um, tips, advice, etc., for your fellow writers here on that topic, let's cover some of that when we get back. All right. And let us know what you're working on today. And here's another thing. What's something you've accomplished this week that you're proud of? It can be anything. It can be writing related or not. But what's something you've accomplished this week that you're proud of? That's what we want to talk about when we get back. All right, everybody. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's write. All right. Very nice, everybody. Very good job. Let me get rid of this giant banner. So how'd everybody do on that last sprint? Let us know in the chat. I'm editing, so I did not get any I don't have a word count. Wah, wah, wah.
I went back and like fiddled with some stuff, so I don't have a word count either. Let's see.
Robert, save us. Do you have a word count
No,
today?
I fused what I wrote the other day with some news or some older stuff, so I deleted some things, so my word count shrunk a little instead of gained.
Oh, editing. That's no fun. Author JD Nichols joining late but currently working on a draft of my police procedural. Yay! Congratulations. That is awesome. JD, let us know, is this your first one, your second one, your 83rd? Tell us a little about you. We're glad to have you here today. 88 Green, we'll see you later. Thanks so much, and we will see you next Wednesday. Mama Ward is here. Hello. We're so glad you made it today. So on the last sprint, I asked two questions. The first one is, what do you do to quiet your mind when life, your situation, etc., get to be too much, get to be too distracting, and prevent you from writing? So if you have a go-to for that, drop it in the chat and let us know. And then the other question I asked was, what is one thing? Oh my god, you know what, I forgot to put this stupid, I just keep going to editing and I forget to drop the link in. I'm gonna do it. It'll happen before the end of the sprint. Question number 2 was, what's one thing you did this week that you were proud of? Do you guys have an answer for that?
I hate that I have to think like this seems like something we should all be able to just like immediately spit out an answer to.
Right.
Let's see.
That is getting back to some artwork. So that has kind of been an emotional therapy as well as an outlet for me, aside from my writing. Hold on a second. I'll grab.
Do we get an art? Are we getting an impromptu art show, Robert?
Yay!
Yay! Yay!
Oops, I'm knocking things over in the process. That's not good.
All right, I'm going to make you big, Robert. Here you go.
So what I've started is kind of a personal project. These are like the classic versions of heroes from like the 1940s.
Ooh,
love it.
And
that
this
is so
would
cool.
be the Earth 2 Robin from in the 1960s. Yes, there's an older version of Batman and Robin. And at one point, Batman retired on Earth 2, and Robin decided to kind of take his place. So this is kind of an unusual costume. So I wanted to kind of
love it.
Faux cover based on that.
That is so cool.
The first cover I appeared on had this blurb that says, can a grown-up Robin, prevail when his other teammates in the Justice Society, which used to be like the Justice League, were all defeated. And now it's kind of grown-up Robin solve his own murder.
I love it. I absolutely love it. That is so cool. You should be proud of that. That is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. How about you, Michelle? What are you proud of this week?
Okay, I work at this book packager, and I'm at a stage now where I'm developing a new project, and I came up with like probably the most high concept thing I've ever come up with. It was literally 3 words, and everybody was like super stoked about it. So I'm working on. I've got that pitch going, and yeah, I'm very excited about this project.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Congratulations. I love that. Love that. Miss Texas G says, professionally or personally? Either one is totally fine. I'm absolutely cool with either one. All right. Mama Ward says, I'm trying to help a friend with editing. The person she hired, if I meet them, I will need bail money.
Yeah, I've been there several times. There's so many people out there that are selling services that don't really understand. That's partly what made me write this craft book, because I got the same thing from a friend, and this is probably a year or so ago. And she's like, I feel something is wrong with this book after I paid this editor like all this money, but I don't feel that the work is right. I said, okay, send me your first chapter. Nothing that was essentially supposed to be in a first chapter was in
Oh
the first
no.
chapter. In fact,
Oh,
she didn't even get to her main character till chapter 10. I'm like, oh my gosh,
oh no.
your editor totally flushed your story. And then she's like, I don't know what to do except go ahead and publish this because I spent so much time with it. And it was just like heartbreaking. I'm like, no, this needs a course correction.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, you don't want to put
frustrating.
that. Oh, oh, that's the worst. The worst. All right. So, personally, Miss Texas G is proud of her kids. Love that. Mary is proud I made it to this session. I'm proud I just said session just now. Prioritizing better. Yay. Very, very nice. Mama Word says one. I go, oh, this is what you do. Here, hold on just one second. We're going to come back to that, Mama Word. Wow, so much talent, Robert. Yes. Oh, everybody loves
Thank
that.
you.
All right. Ooh, Mama Word says discovering that my 15 steps of editing can help others. I love that.
That's great.
That is so fantastic. Mama Word says an editor thought it was okay to have 5,447 ands in a 130K manuscript. Okay, good gracious. Um yeah, so let us know what you guys are proud of for this week. Very, very nice. I don't think I did I say what I was proud of? I'm proud that I have like finally decided to revamp my marketing, not marketing, my writing
Heck yeah.
system because I have been like banging my head against the wall for months, months and months and months, trying to rejigger my my old system and still not working. So yeah. So anyway, so I'm proud of that. I'm very excited about that. Dun, dun, we've got some new. That's 4% of the words. That's a lot of anding. Mama Ward says she sent me the arc after sending her pre-sale next month. I am crying. Well, Mama Ward, thank goodness your 15 steps of editing are there to help. Love that. All right, so let's talk about the things that you do when your life or the world gets to be too much. Do we have some good strategies here so far? I go sit with the birds and the bees, feeding my bees a drop of honey off my finger, or petting my reincarnated velociraptors, aka chickens, is soothing for me, right? Like being out in nature is really, really good for people. I notice for sure that my mental state is significantly improved when I get out and walk first thing in the morning. This is another thing like um I have been doing that pretty regularly for quite a long time. And it's great, except this summer when kind of everything like hit the fan all at once, it gets too hot in Florida. Like if I could walk every morning still, but I would have to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because
Yeah.
it's 80 degrees by or 85 degrees by like 7.
It's hard
And
working here in the
yeah,
morning too, but I'm still doing it. I'm pushing through, but oh
good
my
for
gosh,
you. I
the
know.
humidity is terrible.
Yeah, it's bad, and you guys know I have a treadmill in my office, a treadmill desk in my office, and I do walk on that sometimes, but I will say I do not feel like I get the mental health benefits that I get from walking outside
Mhm.
and listening to the bird. And I just saw something about how hearing the birds, there's some, I don't know, like direct connection to your brain that makes you feel better, which is kind of
Mhm.
interesting, but I do really notice like I feel happier, I want to eat less crap. I like eat less
Yeah.
sugar and things like that. So yeah, so that would be the thing. Anyway, so that's the thing I'm proud of. You guys let us know what you're proud of in the chat. And we are going to do one more sprint. Let's make it happen. All right. The first thing is I have to get our little thing back up. Here we go. All right. One more sprint. We're going to make this one count. I've been very productive in this. I'm super excited about that. I hope you guys have too. Here we go. Last sprint, everybody. Make this one count. Tell us what you're proud of if you haven't already. And we're getting started in 3, All right, everybody, we are back. Yay. Uh you know what I forgot? Actually have another thing I'm super proud of. Like there is an author that is someone I really really admire, and I think she's brilliant. She sells a ton of books and she's charming and lovely, and I just started working with her on her nonfiction book, and I am super excited about that.
That's awesome.
I
Very
know,
cool.
right? It's always nice, like, one of your idols says, like, you know, wants to work with you. That's sort of
Heck
like,
yeah.
"Ah."
Right.
Wayne is here today. Wayne is writing a read-along audio drama. Ooh, I love that. It's so funny because I just talked with somebody else about one of those the other day, and, I love that. Love, 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 love that. All right, you guys, I finally put the link in to my word tracker. It's just a Google sheet. I tried to put it in and StreamYard like truncated it into two different parts. So use the second link. Like in the first one, it says here's the link to the word tracker, but it's only
Mm.
like part of the link. So use the link right below that, which is the full link. And I also added it to the description for the video. So you should be able to find that. All right, let's go. Um, let's go. Let's go. Let's see. Mama Word says she's never mind. We've already covered that. Um, Maz has some really good advice for like sort of clearing your head. I find going out late at night and feeling the cold air can help with the reset. I think that is great. Right? Because it's literally a shock to your system. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Winter, I love this. Robert can attest to the fact that I'm a major BTS fan. Like, go Army. Love, love, love that. Winter recently gained inspiration from BTS. The singers are so productive with their careers during and after their military service. They make sure their fans are fed. Yeah. Na, 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 na. Yes, absolutely. Love that. Find them very inspiring. Proud of my 700 words in this spread. Yeah, that is awesome. Super, super proud of you. That's great. Ladies, proud. I finished a chapter today. Now I'm off to get the last things I need for Writers on the River this weekend. Ooh, that sounds super fun. Then I
Ooh.
have 87 links for use this one. 87 links for the Google tracker. I also dropped in a link to Elena Kagan's book, Writing and Marketing Systems, if you want to look at her stuff. So awesome. You got here. You know what we need? We need a round of applause for all of us and all the stuff we're proud of this week. Here we go. You guys are awesome. We're so proud of you. And I'm so proud of you. All right, everybody. We are heading out the door now. So thanks so much for being here. Before we go, let's go ahead and do our outros really fast. I'm going to start with you, Michelle, this time since I started with Robert last time. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel before we go.
All right. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade and young adult novels. My channel is writing workshops, traditional publishing chat, and writing blogs. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much for being here today. As always, thank you. We just love you to pieces. Robert, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel before we go.
My channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling and place them under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft and hopefully make the viewer's journey easier.
Very nice. We all love that. We're super excited for your craft book. Yay. I'm going to nag you about putting up a pre-order after the stream today. and thank you all so much for being here. I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a hybrid author, traditionally published and indie published author who writes contemporary romance and nonfiction advice. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you're super proud of and get it published. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Oh, look at this from Wayne. I get so much
you, Wayne.
inspiration and advice from your channel, Michelle. Thank you so much. Michelle is awesome. We're lucky to have her with us every week. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. We love you, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Keep those keyboards clacking.
There you go.